This is particular memorial, Dandi memorial, basically was I also will discuss with you how the ministry works, just to explain to you, in case you want to take up such type of large projects. And some of you Upinder is in Delhi, so it's very very actually very very approachable and very easy to do these large type of projects. So like I will just first, maybe just to get you a little idea of what it is, share the walkthrough video first with you, and after the walkthrough video I will then take you through the other sort of nuances of how this thing happened, how the uh, whole development happened. I'll just open the video for you. Um, then I'll show you the collaboration, then the construction, all the three. So there is the collaborative model, and one second. Mm, and then whenever you want to view this, we have it available, you know like all of you would prefer English or Hindi in our team, English walkthrough, voiceover. Maybe we'll do the English, and
English
then
will work.
anytime English is better. Okay, so we have done in English, Hindi and Gujarati, because it's in the it's in Gujarat. So, let me go back to my uh, Zoom call. Yeah, here we are. And Babu has, I think, given me sharing rights. Yeah, here it is. So there we go. So just to again clarify how things move. How did we land up with such a prestigious project from the Ministry of Culture? So what's interesting is the Ministry of Culture, or any other ministry for that matter, has has this people who ask, demand for some type of things. For example, the Gandhians requested the Congress government that they would like to construct a memorial where Gandhiji picked up salt, and it started from that time, from the Rajiv Gandhi government time. And and then of course the ministry, it was kept on rolling. And then while such a thing happens in the ministry, it's very interesting that there had to be champions outside who are constantly constantly asking for that. They say that we want this to happen, we want the memorial there. So all these Gandhians, of course the great grandson of Gandhiji, he's also available in Bombay. So he, and then there is Dr. Iyengar, who is a vice chancellor of Gujarat Vidyapeeth. Now he's retired, he's in Dharmpur. There is the one very very famous advocate who's a very strong Gandhian. Then all these people kept on asking every government, after each government. And then most recently, which is 6 years back, when they formed a the government also does a very interesting thing. See, the government and the secretaries don't have time, right? So what they do is they set up something called the high level committee. So the high level committee actually has a lot of eminent people who understand the things well. So this high level committee had all the Gandhians, they had people from IIT, they had people from the Gujarat Vidyapeeth, they had very very big experts like our Rajiv Sethi, the person who did the airport, the Bombay airport. So he was there, part of the committee member. So like that, all these people form the high level committee. And this high level committee, whatever the high level committee uh, 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 and of course the joint secretary is the office bearer of the high level committee. Of course we have a government presence there, and whatever decisions happen in the high level committee is then approved by the secretary, and it goes forward. So because the ministry doesn't have time, they always do these committees. Through the committees they operate. So the high level Dandi committee of course did numerous meetings. And one of their meetings, they wanted, because it's a Gandhiji's sort of memorial, sustainability and self reliance was a very important thing. They said, let us consider the let it be energy, net energy zero. That is, like, let it have solar panels, so there's no grid connectivity, so that we can show self-reliance through solar power. So that's the reason they came to our IIT, to our energy science department and electrical department, saying that we like to do this. And then 1 year we worked with them. We said, it can be done like this, and all the calculations were given. And then they were not going forward in the concept generation. And then one of them, one of our very senior professors, some of you would know him, is called Kirti Trivedi, who's my predecessor in this project. So he is also a Gandhian. His father was a very active, like a freedom fighter. So he, they said, okay, why don't you people show us some concepts? So it's all started like that. So, Professor Kirti Trivedi then showed some concepts to the high-level Dandi, memorial committee. And with that, whole generation, like how would you be frugal? How would you at the same time, showcase the, importance? How can you show importance by being frugal? How can you show the value of such an important landmark event where the, 81 marchers sort of went to give up. In fact, they didn't even know they will live. For example, they went on a march, and even the British could shoot them. Now it looks like they picked up salt and came back, but at that time it was like very, very challenging. How do you express these people's feelings? In the whole situation was a very, very big effort, and that was done, and like, and then they said, no, we want IIT Bombay. After this concept from my Professor Kirti Trivedi and our electrical engineering Professor Zuzar Vasi, both of them presented. They said, no, we want to give this whole project to IIT. And even, for example, at that time, the project was costed at 6 crores at the design and development of the art components, and construction cost will be given separately for the, of course, CPWD, the government organization, will construct. So that's how it was, considered, and it was taken up. So we will have to, really weave through and check up the form aspects, the perception aspects, the issues of, what people perceive. And Gandhian, you have this Gandhian image, right? What will you do with the buildings? What will you be with the structures? So, I want all of to be very, very critical, critical people over here. And, always you could disagree with a lot of things which have happened. And, you could, we want you to be very active from that point of view. In our discussion. So, though the project is good, you can always say, no, I don't, agree with this. This should not happen like this. So we'll have that type of discussion also in the end. So let me now quickly show you the first concept walkthrough of how the whole thing happened. Is my screen blank being seen? Yeah, it's there.
Yes, yes, sir. Visual.
Yeah, it's visible. No, so we will earlier I kept it blank, just to start. So we will go ahead. Yeah.
Soul Satyagraha Memorial, advised by the High-Level Dandi Memorial Committee, HLDMC, constituted by the Ministry of Culture, Government of India, designed and implemented by IIT Bombay. The National Soul Satyagraha Memorial seeks to recreate the spirit of the historic Dandi March that led to the breaking of the Soul Law in 1930. Envisioned to be built on a 15-acre plot in Dandi, the monument is dedicated to the 80 Satyagrahis who followed Mahatma Gandhi in the historic march to Dandi, leading to the breaking of the Soul Law in 1930. 40 sculptors selected from 10 countries, including India, volunteered for the making of the life-size statues of the 81 Satyagrahis in a first-ever workshop of its kind in 2013. These statues are being cast in silicon bronze by Studio Sukriti in Jaipur. The glass crystal at the apex, held by a symbolic pair of arms, over the 5-meter-high statue of the Mohanty by the renowned Indian sculptor Sadashiv Sati, denotes a crystal of salt. Solar power trees and LED fixtures ensure the self-sufficiency of energy requirements at the site.
Is there any, Babu, is there any lot of sound echo so I can stop my mic?
No, sir. It's okay, sir. It's okay, sir.
And so there we go. So it is basically, this was the concept where we, created drawings, we created all the aspects after multiple meetings with the ministry. Let me quickly show you. And the biggest challenge, colleagues, I want to, tell you was that, you saw, cobbled pathways. So there are stone over there. You saw silicon bronze castings. You saw those large stone murals. So what happened was, very interestingly, we got one professor from each department, and then you saw structures. And this is a seaside area, so the soil is, clayey, and huge amount of problems are there with that. So we used the geotechnical professors for the soil analysis. The lake was supposed to be created, so we used water professors from the environmental science and engineering department. So it's a how aesthetics and form, would be exemplified by using the best technology professors and doing the best work. For example, the professor who works with earth sciences would say that, Chakravarthy, why don't we get this stone from the north, from Jammu and Kashmir areas, where the stone doesn't get hot in the sun. You can walk on that stone. So, like, the amount of knowledge which was available with all these the professors was phenomenal. So maybe what I will do is, I will show you the the video of the collaborative innovation, or maybe just quickly make a presentation and then show the collaborative video, so then you will understand the aspects much better. So let me stop this share and let me start the other share. So I will, not take too much time over here. I will share this next slide with you. Uh, uh, yeah, here it is. And we'll go to our,
Yeah, we can see, sir.
yeah, we'll go to full screen, and of course, view. Is it all clear from current slide? Yeah. Now it's full screen, no? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's full
thanks, Bob.
screen.
When you say play from the slide, then all it goes full screen. Yeah, when it is coming from on the Zoom. Yeah. So, like, colleagues, this is what. So it's a huge effort. We had teams of architects who are, working with us, who would, do the, design, do the detailing of the part. So we had our alumnus, who's a very good heritage architecture from Ahmednagar, called Kulkarni, Ajay Kulkarni, who's a junior from IDC. So he worked on the concept generation along with Professor Kirti and me. And so we had to do all the basic, I think most of it is, we designers, all of us, do this. We always go and, check out what has happened with with the, with the history, what is the perception of people when you say, it's a monument for Gandhiji. Looking at other monuments which are available in the country, it's a very, very, standard, process. But what I want to reiterate with all of us, all of you here, is whatever we learned in school and what we're teaching to students, following the practice, even though it's less time, sometimes there's a lot of pressure. Following the practice of a design methodology becomes very critical. So, so we followed that, methodology very, very closely. And we checked up where the site is, how the orientation is, what type of, which side the sun comes, what type of shadows will come, what type of, details will happen. And all these were very, very carefully studied. And we also studied the, earth, the color, the, where should the axis of the main statue be. Should the statue be looking towards the sea, or should the statue be looking towards the people who are walking towards them? How should the texture of the floor change, how would we do rainwater harvesting, multiple activities. I won't go into all the details because the videos will be able to show you all the things. And of course, like there were a lot of ideas. Out of all the ideas, the one idea which everybody liked was that, and of course the sea is very far off. One idea was to go into the sea and build, and that would be a huge cost. So they said, no, we will not go into the sea. We will be, that site which was given, 15 acres was around 3 kilometers from the sea. So it's very close to the sea, but it's away. And there are these, when the sea also, Gujarat coast is pretty, volatile. It keeps, high tide keeps coming quite a bit. And there also, recently we saw two huge, cyclones, and we made this whole monument, like studying the wind speeds, through our special wind tunnels in IIT Kanpur. All the, the memorial tower was put in the wind tunnel. All those testings were done. So that's why I want to show you all these interactions of how well it goes. In fact, I remember very well how our NIFT colleagues used to come to our NIFT Delhi used to come to our textile department and talk to some of our professors like Gul Rajani and one Mrs. Bajaj, who came up with this wonderful self-absorbing towel in IIT Delhi's textile department. So I think there's more and more collaboration needed. Unfortunately, we're not mandating it. It is the individual strength of the faculty to want to collaborate rather than mandated collaboration where it becomes part and parcel of our work can really, change the way we do things. So we, just to show you the complete thing, like how the lake was conceived as part of the whole sort of monument, because the water bodies always give you the calmness, the peace, the tranquility which was needed. So there's an artificial lake nearly 3/4 of the size of a plot, which is extremely demanding. And of course the welcome center and the salt making facility. The solar trees were supposed to be in the water earlier by my professor. And like then you will see what happened. Everything can't see. That's very interesting when you do see, from concept to production, concept to innovation, a lot of changes have to happen, and this has to be accepted from point of view of various constraints, the cost constraints, the things constraints. So when you do that, what is the trade-off, what is the best thing we can do, is what we all should consider taking things forward. And of course the pedestal, the A pillar, which is supposed to be a 40-meter high tower, which does the which has a glass crystal on the top. So all that abstraction of the glass crystal, of salt, the whole cube depicts salt, the hands which are holding the salt on the top, all these abstractions and design were done by me, from the development to the from the concept to the product development and actually implementation. So I was involved in actually going there and getting the the thing, all of this manufactured and installed. So when you're in IIT, what happens is, like, now the ministry is totally dependent on us. And for all the art components, the murals, the statues, and the glass crystal and the A pillar, the CPWD they said, it's not our work. You get your contractors, you get your work done. So all that fell on our, our own head. And then luckily, we had some very good team from the Design Innovation Center. That project also was running. So I had a team of 10 people working. You saw the studio. All of us stopped all of the work and all of us were on the monument to get the monument completed. And then, this is the pathway. This has to be like a village pathway where there's the cobbled stone. And all these are those narrative murals on pedestals, which are large monoliths, which you see in the, in the video of construction. And a very interesting point was that we were looking at green patches, we were looking at stone, what type of stone to use. The stone was sent to the civil engineering department to complete analysis from the quarry where the stone is quarried. So that type of care was taken, and the patterns were created. Then the best part is, the colleagues, I liked the way we looked at the trees, the color of the trees, the where which tree will come where. That was a great knowledge from me, and to the everlasting credit of my professor Kirti Trivedi, was a very intense communication design professor. And then he, of course, is a product designer, trained at Royal College of Art. Then he came back to India. Then he was with IDC for a very long time. So I'm very, very fortunate to, then he retired and did project. I had to take over the project and do the whole work. He retired after the concept, till this stage. And then, what we studied, because it's a salty water, we sent teams of people to the forest to find forests which are next to the sea, to find out which plants survive in salty water, and what type of colors would we need, what type of shade will we need when we walk along the pathway. So where should be the tree come so that the shade will come onto the pathway? Very, very interesting work. And then I'm really, really, proud to be associated with Professor Kirti Trivedi to get this work, executed and done. And then we collaborated with our CPWD horticulture experts. And oh God, our country has such experts in every area you ask for it. And these horticulture experts were so good that, they would, get the saplings, they would make them grow. While the construction is happening, they would go in the nursery, and then these would come back to the site and, for the development. So this is, like a very, very interesting work which we did. That if my copper statues are there, like with patina, at the back of those copper statues, what type of colored trees would I need? So we had that whole file coming up over there. So that type of detail was considered and taken forward. So along with me, I had two of my more colleagues, Professor Raja Mohanty and Shilpa Ranade. Professor Raja Mohanty again is a, a very, very big expert on terracotta and communication designer, but dedicated himself to pottery. Whereas Shilpa Ranade, my batchmate from IIT Bombay, again, she's the head of, she conceived the animation program, and she would work with me closely on the statues. In fact, we both would go multiple times to the statue workshop, from the workshop to the from the clay workshop to the workshop in Jaipur, to get the statues done, see that the postures are right, the walking is right, the gait is right, cut them, weld them again if the gait is not right, and all that was done with my animation professor's eyes. So you can just imagine the type of strengths we drew from animation professors to communication professors to engineering professors. And I think all this will be, seen in the video anyway. I don't need to repeat. And these are all the drawings, and how we made the cobbled pathway. Each stone size was marked and given. The large murals, thanks to our, we must meet our JNFAU in, Masatang, Shanti Swarupni Roy, again, a fabulous professor. She did all the murals with a team of 10 sculptors in clay, and from the clay this mural was rubber cast, taken back through the rubber cast to Jaipur. And after the rubber cast in Jaipur, we converted that into, of course, the silicon bronze murals. Then we were, all the seating was supposed to be natural stone. These natural stones were sourced from all over the country, and from shape and size. So we had to give the dimensions of the natural stone. Aisa hona chahiye, itna height hona chahiye, this type of curvature. These dimensions are okay, but these dimensions have to be fixed. So very interesting, thought process there. And of course, the lighting, was done. This is the wrong image. The stones were natural stones; they were not, made like that. And we had all the key plans, the floor, the type of lake edge which was taken care of. And and we all can, for example, it's nothing great, any of you into the team can do such a project. Believe me, it's that type of situation, collaboration, which happens when you do all these works. And sometimes and this is a toilet block, it's not supposed to look like a toilet block, so it was done with red sandstone, and with cutouts of the male and female toilet sites. And of course, all the other details were built. And this was my most favorite, and spent a lot of time on this pedestal, because this was the monument, actually the whole monument. This is the most important element of the monument, the A pillar, we call it, very slender, two hands lifting up a crystal of glass on the top. And how it will look, and how will we take things forward. In fact, now what we did is, this A pillar, we finally, when we went to the site, we found, Are, ye to nahi hona chahiye, ye wala. So we removed this whole front. Now it's, the whole thing is not a chabuta, it's a C. Now it is a square. Now we made it a C, and the C looked very good on the side. So it's very interesting that even on the side you can make changes when you see the real product in front of you. We did small models, but those things didn't come out out of those, and the shadows, and the monument, and and then the Gandhiji, the stone the Gandhiji will stand on. Very interesting. The sculptor wanted Gandhiji to walk like this, and this was not possible. In the end, we could not do this, because below this we had to have a whole foundation for this statue, and because of the foundation, no, we could not do this. And also the time, because finally we had 8 months time before they said that the prime minister was going to inaugurate the event. So that 8 months was unbelievable sort of rush for all of us, and we compromised on this. It's just a block pedestal now, you'll see on the video. And and the of course the solar. We had to make salt. When you come to a Gandhi Memorial, you have to make your own salt and take. So we have these boiling pots, again designed by us. We'll show you the details. The solar trees is a very, very big highlight. The Prime Minister really appreciated the tree. It's a huge tree, again completely designed and detailed by me, where we built the solar panels are put on large trees, and it looks like a forest of solar trees. You'll see that on the video. Again, detailing and work and dimensions, and of course the lights and the pedestals and details. So I thought I'll just share this background with you so that you could appreciate the video much better. So any questions till now, colleagues?
Sure, yes, sir. Or we can do that in the last, like you said.
Sure, Atul. Whenever, yeah, we can do it in the end also. So let me show you the other video.
Sir, a video is not showing, sir. We need to.
Yeah. I'll click. Yeah.
The Dandi Memorial Project.
I was just seeing if there's a correct one. Yeah. 1 second. I have to share the video. I thought if it's in the same video, it'll work, but even in the same video, when you change, it's not working. So I'll show you separately. Yeah. Now it is seen, no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
The Dandi Memorial Project first came to IIT Bombay for some advice on how to build the solar energy component of the project. It was realized that there were many other areas of expertise which could contribute to the memorial itself. IIT Bombay was given the responsibility for being the design coordinating agency for the Dandi Memorial Project. And this whole effort was led by Professor Kirti Trivedi of our Industrial Design Center to actually take inputs from a wide variety of people and to come up with a final design for the memorial.
You can see all the members, these are all the HLDMC members. The end of the table, like you can see Shreya Guha, that lady in sari, two ladies in sari. One is the joint secretary, the other one is the director of the project. And the long hair person is the Tushar Gandhi, the Gandhi's grandson, and next to him is Professor Iyengar. So and this is our like boardroom in our IIT. And the end with those white hair is Rajiv Sethi, a very famous guy. Yeah, let me again done this for you.
For the memorial. The Dandi Memorial Project turned out to be a great collaborative experience for many of our departments in the institute. We had professors from civil engineering, looking both at structures as well as geotechnical aspects. We had the Industrial Design Center, of course, doing all the artwork. We had professors from physics talking about lasers. We had professors from material sciences to try and decide on things like corrosion. And then, of course, we had people from earth sciences to advise us on what kind of stones and so forth that could be used. I think that this memorial and the association of IIT Bombay will be a matter of pride for faculty and students of IIT Bombay for all years to come. And we are very happy that we got this opportunity to work on this project.
Yeah, thank you. In fact, I was planning to show you the long one. There's a long and short. So,
The Dandi Memorial Project.
let me stop it.
very constructive and collaborative, successful work.
Yeah,
Very
in
good,
fact, but
very
it happened.
inspiring.
Like we always say, it's all like God's doing, because we are not able to imagine that we could do such a thing. That's what I was saying. The collaborative work is so
Yes.
good. You saw those members. In fact, I had a long video. I will share that video later on of the collaboration of each professor is talking. But I didn't whatever I located, I showed. So each professor talked about his involvement, what he did with the event, and I think the Gandhiji's memorial means, I think people also come forth, quite. But our director, whom you saw, Devang Kakkar, he had 2 terms of director. He was 10 years as director, and his sister also is an artist and a art person. So very interesting combination of how the
Good,
personality of the
good.
director
Yes,
also helps
yes.
you.
It adds
I
a
must
lot
tell
of
you that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he was very,
a
very
good
good.
combination. Very good
Very good,
combination.
and a phenomenal professor, very good research professor, very good in his
Oh,
work, and he would have no doubt that we will do it well. And then
okay.
and then he would. So all the professors, then the deans were involved. So it was a very good
Very
effort.
good atmosphere. Very good
Yeah, very
atmosphere.
good
I mean,
positive.
I must
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
yeah.
So I will just now show the construction of how the whole thing was made, and then we will, have a short question answer session and take it forward. And all these videos I will share with you also, all of you, so that anytime, we could use it for our own, activities.
This would actually set an example for how what motivates people to collaborate and come up with the best work possible.
True. Yeah, yeah.
I think, yeah, very good example. Yeah.
Very true. In fact, we've been, like pushing our ministry quite a bit to showcase how this can happen. And even though I have sent number of letters to our Ministry of MHRD saying that we work for the Culture Ministry, we work for the India Post Ministry, but somehow the secretaries are not talking to each other still. But they're talking, but they're all so busy with their own sort of work, like that we're not able to. It's very, they do like each other's ministries. They don't, in fact, our ministries work collaboratively quite a bit. There's no doubt about it. So let me now quickly show you the construction video, and then we will. In in fact, the CPW was so thrilled with the project. They said that Chakravarthy, please make a video for us. Our chief is sort of finishing his term, so please help us with the. So we made a video for them also, but that is showcasing their chief talking. Yeah, is it shared now? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is that site, what we talked about. Yeah. Huge site, and then of course, what was interesting is while the site was being done, we had to fill 2-meter high soil everywhere else around the site, so the lake automatically got formed. And CPWD also did a very, very wonderful job of like and that contract, we found a very good contractor, local contractor of Navsari is a district, and the contractor was phenomenal. Otherwise it was extremely difficult to build at such low cost. So we had to pave it, and then we use a special geotechnical material so that the water doesn't seep into the soil. That's again done by our civil engineering professors, using the textile in the bottom of the lake. There's a construction, special structural professors helped in the pile foundation. Then these heavy stones were put on the geotextile layer so that the geotextile layer is pressed, so that the water doesn't seep through and you don't lose water. Well, the whole construction happened within 1 year, 1.5 years. These are all the CPW engineers and the chief engineers, and discussing on the statues again. We started working on the statues 3 years back itself, before the inaugural. And this was the most challenging assignment of ours, is using special stainless steel called duplex, which doesn't rust even on the seaside. So we had hired huge cranes to pull it up and install it. Um in fact, like This is a special purpose glass. We went to the best glass manufacturers. We found out that glass manufacturer is different from the glass fabricator. Glass fabricator is different from the glass installer. So we had three agencies, one after the other, and finally we got the best brackets for special aluminum alloy brackets, and internal structure was made. And then we lifted the glass, and in fact I was so scared that I had a whole set of new glass on the floor, imagining that it may break in transit, and I don't so I had one. I'm still having the whole set, and it didn't break. So that is the best part. And these are the solar trees you saw, which these are all monolith stones cut from the mountain, and carved to this size to house our murals. And we had multiple meetings on each murals. Gandhians would go and talk about the surrounding, the architecture, and everything. Look at the size of the trees from the side. And this is our. I was telling you about how we, at the end decided not to have the front column to make it, look better. In fact, I made all the workers stand in line over here when I was planning which statue to go where. So I had all the workers in a file over here, and then saw their heights and all, and decided what type of marchers we should have. So you saw the drawing, and now we exactly see how it's coming up, and finally the inauguration time. And then we had these small laser beams going through the glass from the four sides of the column, and those were also specially constructed for us. I want world sympathy in this battle of right, might over right, was Gandhi's statement during the march. That's the Dandi village. So we created a village community, center inside the memorial, so they can use the community center continuously. We created a room for them. The right side is the community center for the village, and the library for Gandhiji also. In fact, the biggest effort is, while we are all very busy, we need to keep documenting. We need to also create this film, because we are educational people, so we have to use this for our own classes. We have to use this for our own sort of students. So I will quickly show the one small presentation, and then we will go to our sort of discussion, and we are right on time for our next session. 1 second. Yeah. So are you able to see the screen? Contribution to the Dandi Memorial Project?
Sir, waiting.
The screen is visible?
Not visible, sir. Not yet.
Not visible? Let me see. Stop share. Here it is. Now it's visible, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'll quickly show you the 10 slides from this presentation, and we will go forward. So here we are. So like basically from the Design Innovation Center, just to show you some very key elements of this huge one. This is like we wanted one stone, but they gave us two stones. You can see the joint here still. So it's very interesting that it was not possible to truck this stone. So there's a small joint over here. But anyway, that's the Prime Minister, and then we have the CPW chief, and the this is the Secretary Minister of Culture, and this is our Gujarat Chief Minister, inaugurating the place, and this is our Iyengar, sir, which take forward. And Then these are the solar trees, just to show you the amount of care we took for this bottom of the solar tree is special deep drawn aluminum panel, which which has a light over here. So we took great care to make it very, from form point of view, it is an abstraction of a leaf. You can see the ribs over here at the bottom of the leaf. And of course, the top part is the leaf. And then, we had to have the stems done in different sizes and angles. And, we did prototypes. This is a structure. This is a type of, the length, and these are the ribs I was talking about, abstraction of the ribs to take it to that level. And the installation, the using, in fact, we use a lot of special today. All of you know, we have got wonderful adhesives in the market which is as good as materials. So we use special adhesives to put the aluminum together. So all the aluminum part, I keep telling my students also in IIT that all the aircraft, there are a lot of aluminum in the aircraft is stuck by special adhesives. So here also we use the same analogy, and we had the best adhesives from a company in Bombay, and we stuck the aluminum panel with those adhesives on the side. And this is the CPWD chief Agarwal sir, again very very good for us. These are our construction people, Ganesh Corporation, and these are all the young engineers from CPWD, all the three. Again, phenomenal amount of teamwork. And we could install the trees. A very big challenge, installation. How do you go about getting the angles right, because all solar trees. And then I'm glad that the PM also appreciated it quite a bit. And then another challenge was this glass crystal. You can see me on the top over here. We had to inspect, because there is a very important balance in such type of structures, that we have to look at structure, we have to look at longevity, and we also have to look at the wind loads and everything. So, and the aesthetics part of it. In fact, my professor wanted, Kirti Trivedi's earlier idea was he wanted a small glass cube inside this big glass cube. And then that was not possible. He was actually very angry with me later on, that why you don't have one glass into the other. But then when we realized at the site there was so much dust, that if I have transparent glass, it would be very difficult. So I tinted the glass, so there's no longer transparent. Use special today we have glass special coatings. We have a coating anti drop coating, we have anti scratch coating, and we have the special toughening to the glass. And of course, two glasses stuck together. If somebody hit if the glass breaks, not even a single glass piece will fall down. It will just stick over there. And we have special film in between two glasses, which is the best companies like 3M which supply, and that was fabricated separately, so that the safety is taken care of. And then again, from form, what type of compromise you do. My professor wanted all those trees into the river, but then we saw that inside the lake there was this geotextile film which was there to prevent the water from going in. If you puncture those films with all these solar trees, the water seepage will be there, and water is very scarce in those areas. Anyway, we're using seawater by pumping. So this is the structure I was talking about, again made out of duplex material. And and these are those very very special. Our country is blessed with this very very skilled traditional workmen in glass, and they can do very very heavy glass on buildings. These are those workmen whom we found, again thanks to India Mart, again in Navasari. That's the beautiful part of it, that when you have some requirement, you can really get the best manpower within our country, very close by. And these are the slides, and this is again the type of I built, must have 7 to 8 3D models, small ones, to get this hand right, and get the bolts. You see all these bolts, how we are bolting the glass crystal to these. And then and of course the type of materials, the welding, the detailing was all taken care of. And that is the level of the A pillar size, to just show you. And this is also first experience for us. We have no experience in this. I only had experience in petrol pumps, as you know. So when things come and you collaborate, again I want to emphasize, you can do wonders to take things forward. And our architects, structural engineers, a lot of learning from everybody. And that's how we got all our things done. And this is a very interesting that's my professor Raja Mohanty. So we wanted it to be a pot, and and the top of the pot is an induction cooker from Prestige. So we got those induction cooker, we made special castings, we fixed the induction into that casting, and that casting went into the pot. You touch the pot, the induction cooker will start. So we kept capacitance behind. So again, see this red mark over here. So when you touch this, the pot will start. And and then the salt will dry very fast. Otherwise, it will take half an hour. In the induction at 2000 watts, we can really do it very fast. And again, there was so much rain over here that from the sides the rain came in. Actually, the bottom, though the pots were fired well, still we lost some pots, broke. So now we have actually replaced them. Now we are going back to ceramic ware, this from terracotta to ceramic. So that's underway. So we still work is progressing, and on that level. And this is how we installed the pots into the location. And the pots look fabulous, when compared to the color and all that. You see the form and the circular. Look at the castings. These are all castings specially made by us. We nowadays it's very easy. We did 3D printing of this casting. Took the 3D print to the casting guy in Bombay, and he just casted in aluminum and gave us. We machined it, and we replaced the Prestige induction with the electronics into this casting, and the casting goes into the pot. So we made a
Very
special.
good combination. Very good
Yeah,
combination of
yeah.
the, very earthy and very
Very good.
eco-friendly
Yeah.
against the,
Look, no,
very
look,
good.
and there are terracotta tiles at the top. So you see the top is all terracotta tiles because
Mm.
of our
Oh,
structure and Gandhian principles, and also very again very challenging. We had lost a lot of pots, but we made them because the pot size was narrow in the bottom and big on the top. Quite quite different from generally the pots are big in the bottom and narrow on the top. But here we didn't want children to go close. See, the top became wide because children would go close to the hot water because it's boiling. So the pot had to be made big on the top so that the children don't go in, and narrow in the bottom so that your legs don't get hurt. So like things like that worked out, and all our DIC team members there. And I thought I'll just share this. So that finishes the Dandi form and perception presentation, and we have 10 more minutes for questions. You're most welcome.
Do you have any presentation regarding the process of how you came up with those two hands and the salt, the pillar that
The solar
how
tree
yeah, how, no, not the
hands.
solar tree, but the hands and the salt, what was
Yeah,
like, do you have that, the design
I
process
have.
documented?
Actually, I was trying to document for so many, I have all the images. I'm like, I don't, in fact, I don't even have the documentation of from clay to the silicon bronze casting. इतना
Hmm.
इंटरेस्टिंग पिक्चर्स बना के रखा है वीडियोस बना के रखा है बहुत अच्छा क्या huge data is available like so one project over another project so like so I have the data but I will see I'll hunt and before the sessions get over maybe I'll share
Okay.
with you. It'll be very nice to have the internal because we're all colleagues and faculty. We want to use the data as a design process because hand
Yeah.
now how we did the structure, how we did the small model, how we did the hand in the large, and to experience the size of the solar panel, we made one large solar panel in metal and we hung it in the room inside our PD cell to see the height and the ribs. So because the learning is from small to big. The
Yeah.
small things look good, but when it becomes big, it may not look good. So we need to really see that scale. I'll make a note and I'll see if I can share something at the end of the sessions. But
That'll be great.
that's very,
Thank you.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
there in my mind. But somehow like doing work and documentation, is quite a
Yeah.
important task. But right now it's not readily available. But the images are there and some short presentations are there. We will
Okay.
surely share with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Even I think if you share that documentation or recordings, I think that
Sure. So
will
all the
answer.
recordings are open source YouTube. BK Chakravarthy, my YouTube channel. All of them I'm picking
Yeah,
from YouTube channel only. So
yeah, because even
Chakravarthy. Yeah.
yeah,
All the lectures.
my question was also regarding this sculpture only because when we start designing any product, it's very much form follows function, that principle. So uh, to an extent, the form is very much definite, but when we go
Yeah.
for sculpture, that is the area where that creativity, you one can explore the creative part, and you can go uh, bizarre, not bizarre, but you can go really open in terms of form. So I think, yeah, that was, if that document can be shared, so that will answer my question, because I was also having this question that why this cube you have used as a crystal, as a salt crystal. It's a very powerful form in my opinion. So I think many people might agree with that. And I also share this with my students that in these platonic solids and these forms, I think cube is one of the most powerful forms, and it is also depicted in that way. If you watch all those some movies also, like in Transformers movie, I mean, just going out of discussion a little bit, but there's this object which is the very powerful object in the universe. It's called Allspark, and that is depicted by a cube. Again, in Captain America, there's a Tesseract, which is a very powerful object in the universe, and that is also depicted by a cube. So that is a very powerful form. So was that a kind of thought process behind keeping that salt crystal a
No,
cube?
Atul, in this, the salt crystal process was very clear. We saw the crystals we started boiling salt, water, and we saw the formation of the crystal, and the crystal was cube.
Okay.
So, like, our
Okay. Okay.
process was very clear that अरे जो निकल रहा है वही हमें चाहिए. That in this whole memorial, no, Atul, was very interesting.
Okay.
It truth ना पूरा ये सच्चाई है. No, whatever is real is real. So the
Okay.
salt crystal is
Okay.
actually is a cube. The crystal, the first crystal which comes when you put
Okay.
a little lens and see. So our inspiration was only from there.
Okay.
But the challenge
Okay.
was, should I make a quartz crystal,
Okay.
import from Switzerland, or should I make a glass cube over here in Navsari? So those are the challenges we were facing from cost and implementation angle. So you saw the small nuts on the end where I have spiders inside to hold the glasses. So the challenge was, can you not have it like a one unit monolith? So the compromise was that, like, अरे वो छोटा स्क्रू नहीं दिखेगा नीचे से, and finally it is not seen. तो वो तो बहुत डिस्कशन किया था कि वो 4 बोल्ट जो साइड में होते हैं ना ग्लास को पकड़ने के लिए. So like, and like people are not accepting. They said that अरे कैसे नहीं दिखना चाहिए. So then नहीं दिखेगा तो risky था. Glass could fall because I could do it from inside one glass. The other glass can come on top of it as an adhesive. But then it was very risky from a safety point of view. It's a monument. And you know what happens? Very interesting things we got to know. These adhesives are eaten by crows. तुम्हारा साइड का सिलिकॉन क्रो खा जाता है. So, like, interesting things happen in the country. So you may have you have everything right.
That is also another challenge.
Natural forces can damage your adhesive and your sealing. So we provided even if water seeps into the glass cube, there were channels to let the water go out. So a lot of learning. You're very right. The inspiration is surely there, but when you take it through the process of various experts and situations, you compromise some part of it from point of view of and then of course with a very open heart, like, because the monument has to come up. So that type of because any designer would like a plain surface without nuts, for example.
Yes.
So there's no rocket science. अरे अच्छा लगेगा, बिल्कुल clean होगा. So when not possible, then you do what is the next best possible. So kept the bolt as small as possible, and we took it as much inside as things so that the glass edge is not broken. So I'm so happy. 3 cyclone देखा. We designed it for 250 kilometers per hour speed, और हमारा 180 kilometer per hour speed का तूफान आया recently also. So 2 तूफान चला गया, तो वो अभी भी कुछ हुआ नहीं. So I'm like finger crossed. So like every time तूफान comes, मेरा BP बढ़ जाता है. Yeah. It's interesting. When you do a monument, things in public domain, even if it is form, even if it is it is you're continuously interacting with it. Yeah.
And simplest of the forms and simplest of the designs are like
looks always.
I think having most challenges in terms of fabricating or production. Yes.
Very true.
And the tree form, the simplification of the tree and making it useful, very good combination of the utility, a combination inspiration of the tree along with the open plate to resource energy, conserve the energy. Very nice, very good thought. And the pot and the what you say, the
seat around
the
it.
seat. Very good, very good. So now, is anybody want to ask something? Does anybody want to ask something? The next section.
Uday.
Yeah, it was very inspiring to see the entire presentation. So I was curious to see the aerial perspective. If we see overall project, it looks triangular. So any reason for that, or that was the provided land for the project.
That was the provided land. That we used every part of the land. That was the thing provided. But at the end, there was some more land at the back, so we made it vegetation. We wanted to, cut it from the front. We used all the land, and the end where you see the statue, there we made a road, and behind the road we put all plantation. The site was much more jaggy at the back. So the triangle which you see, the triangle is the edge we cut straight. It was also jaggy. It was all very bad there.
Even the lake also, the lake shape also looks very triangular.
Yeah, because the site was triangle, Professor Kirti Trivedi decided that we want to go around the lake, Pradakshina, by seeing all the murals and the statues and all. So we just made it around the lake. So the lake also became because of the, and then our whole purpose was simplicity, same to same, like honesty, simple design. So we didn't want to have too many sort of changes there. Yeah, that is the reason it was made. Maybe I didn't ask, more questions on that to Professor Kirti Trivedi when he decided that. But I thought that was the main reason because of the site condition and the walkway on both sides. The lake also became big like that. Yeah.
So even the sculptures, what you have done, like the Dandi Satyagraha walkers. So
Yeah.
any character studies were done for that particular?
Yeah, very good. You asked this question. I have got the videos. If you go to NSSM, I'll put on chat. We documented everything on that. NSSM, there was a NGO which worked with us, to everlasting credit of this NGO, who's a the Malayali boy called Setu. So he developed this website, NSSM Dandi Memorial. Please, we have workshops. We'll show you how we did the workshop. But just to answer your question, let me quickly, tell you. You just have to Google NSSM. You'll see this website with all the videos. Here, what we did is, when we selected these, Professor Kirti Trivedi and Setu went to all the art colleges in the country, and of course wrote to some art colleges abroad, and their alumnus who are very experts in making sculptures were targeted, because when we went to a single sculpture company, they said they will take 7 years to make 81 sculptures. Largest sculpture company said 7 years. If you take 7 years to make, when will the monument come up? So you have to do mass production. But the mass production has to be done customized, because it's very valuable. Each person was valuable over there. So what we did is, when we got these people, the 40 people, we did twice the workshop. When the 40 people came in, they were given training programs on what all was happening. All the Gandhians would come and give them video studies. It was like a workshop. And they were now like charged up with the type of motivation which the marchers had. उनके मुंह में वो determination दिखना था ना marchers के मुंह में. So like, but and we had no pictures of these marchers. There were some all grainy pictures. So we had to take only those pictures. So finally, what happened? You very good question. We could not match the person to person. We have the names of the 81 marchers. हमने 81 marchers का नाम 81 marchers से जोड़ा नहीं, because उनके बच्चे आके हमें मार डालेंगे. For example, from point of view of, it's not an exact match. It's a aesthetic match. It's a emotive match. We use Maharashtra. Resemblance नहीं ma'am. It was more to do with characterization of the persona rather than the physical look and feel. So the persona, the person, there was a guy who was a boy from Chhattisgarh. So वो boy का हमने वो shot बनाया, उसका टोपी दिया, all that was there, but we didn't put the boy's name. All the 81 marchers' names are separate. Our marchers, the people who made the statue, their name is coming in the water. Statue made by so and so. We don't match with the number.
Okay.
People want to match, go and match and stand next to the statue and take a picture and go home. But we don't write over there that this is the marcher. So and so marcher number is so and so name. So if there were people from Maharashtra, so we put the topi. There was a guy who was singing with the tambura, so we put that. That man. Height differences were there, but very good. We did a lot of characterization. It was a huge workshop. My communication, Kirti Trivedi, was there regularly, and we installed we made the clay. Inside IIT, we made the FRP, because clay would get spoiled very fast. We immediately did fiberglass, and then you won't believe how the IIT was gaga. We put them all on our main building road. All the 81 in FRP.
Yeah, I saw when I came there. Yeah. The whole studio was filled, and terracotta figurines were there laid down. March system. Very good.
Very true. So then, it's of course a very big challenge, and of course we had this challenge that we couldn't match exactly the physical, look and feel, but we managed the persona and their feel and determination and their eyes, and how they are on that on the trip, the type of dedication they had. So all that were captured through films. They were actually shown films, they were shown all that, and they were motivated like the way you get charged up to do something. So automatically they're when they did the clay models, they became so good. Yeah, I think we are time now for the next session. Yeah, maybe the boys
Very
waiting.
good, very good
Yeah, thank you
experience.
so much, and we'll
Getting to
keep
know about the whole project by itself.
Yeah.
It's a collaborative learning for us, and the design process, execution learning, and the exploration of the form, how it takes further. And we could see several different combination of aspects coming together, right from the salt boiling to the tree to the whole ambience creation and symbolic representation of the salt form as a monument. Very good, very good. Very nice to have you here, sir,
No, it's
to
a
make us
pleasure. Good
learn
to that.
such a
Yeah, we're all
beautiful
together.
project.
Yeah,
And it's so good. Very dedicated work. Yeah, I appreciate that.
thanks.
Now, should I introduce that? Or now I would like to introduce our student, Mr. Naresh, where we had actually worked with the form. We generated a new form for the leather puppetry. And would you like to have a break, or how do we go about? Do you like to have a break of 10-15 minutes, or should we start off? How do you think? All of you, let me know.
Yes, ma'am, break will be okay.
Maybe 5-10 minutes, not more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Then by then I think he would be ready to put in his PPT. Dinesh, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. You can get ready with your PPT by the time everybody.
Dr. Lakshmi, you have to go for a meeting, no? So you would leave now, or you leave it later?
Now what I decided is I'm not going to the meeting.
Oh, good,
I
good.
decided
To
to
have
stay
you
back.
with us.
I didn't
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to.
So then you can, then Kumarisan is coming at 11:20. So after that, ma'am, you can take the class from 11:40
yes,
onwards.
yes, I would wish to do that.
Yeah,
Yes.
Kumarisan will come. He said he will come at 11:20. He'll join us.
All
So
right,
Kumarisan,
sure.
so all how we did technical products with craft and
Good.
for that.
So now my student is presenting how we took over from the leather puppetry, which is the entertainment craft, narrative entertainment craft, to the product design. Though they were doing lighting systems earlier, we decided to see how a market would be improved by adding few more new forms to their sales. So one example that one student is going to present his work, showing entire process and what is his understanding and how it has been trailed and
Very nice, yeah.
been made to walk, and what is the system which has been formalized to come up with a new form craft. So any craft that is being seen can be looked at in this particular method. Of course, each craft has its own material and methods to go for, but when it comes to planar and linear form structure, this is one of the samples.
Divesh, do it again.
Hello, sir. Your voice is not audible.
Divesh, do it again. Sharing is stop sharing and do it. Sharing.
Okay, just a minute, sir. Is that visible now to everyone?
Not really, Divesh. No.
It's notifying me that I'm sharing my screen right now.
it's showing so, but then the visibility of the slide is not there. It's okay. I mean, take your time, but then people are still, I think they are in a 5-minute break probably. By then you'll be all right.
Is it visible now, ma'am?
No. Since it's a Zoom, just ask sir how to go about. Would you like to have a phone number of sir?
I know.
You want to call?
Just a minute, ma'am.
Yeah. Can you let you know what method you're following so that he will guide you?
Actually, in the bottom navigation bar, there is a new share option is there. So I'm sharing my screen through that. And it's notifying me on my screen that I'm sharing my screen and like the
But
whatever I'm
not,
sharing is visible.
Showing.
You
Do one thing, no?
You double click and see when it will come on the icon which you're sharing.
Is it visible?
It's still coming
No,
blank. Yeah.
I think you do one thing. I'll give you the number to number of sir. Then you can think of talking to him. What's the problem that you're facing exactly?
Yes, ma'am. Please tell me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Form generation and industrial the whole deal of form generation for industrial design, it's been tremendously increasing. It's getting upgraded day by day. Earlier we used to use CAD tools. Even before that we used to draft and make all of that, and with physical models, and slowly we moved into CAD. Now AI is coming in. So the whole deal is changing. You know, the human touch is going away. That's what people feel, but that's the reality. It's going to go more and more. If we think we are not living in the age of AI, that's not true. It's been happening for quite a long time. In fact, people say Amazon and Google, they know more about us than ourselves, you know, to a level, what we are going to buy next and what is our health status. So many other things are coming in. So in that case, where does AI in the common scenario that stays? I'll just show you a small brief movie from YouTube on how AI is being used in commercial area. And after that, I'll show you one small example work from my student showing the whole studies in forms that is being done in IIT IDC. The whole presentation might be for about 15 minutes, then you can have some questions. So first I'll start with AI being used for form generation. Not form generation, basically like in industrial design. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah.
The whole product envelope is coming up, no, Kums?
Yeah, product development and
So from the structure to the external surfaces.
so this is primarily the way place we are sitting in generative design and in AI. Primarily, this is for generating a lot of variables, iterations. How do we bring in terms of a product design and product development? Unfortunately, what happens here is it's about engineering, it's about optimization, it's about efficiency. But one important factor of expression is getting cut in the whole process. Um, it's not that the AI is not going to be doing that. Eventually, it's going to be doing it. Probably, it's already doing it. We are not aware of it yet in the commercial sector. But there is another aspect to product development, which is human way of doing that. That is like, how do we bring in the context, human context into the whole picture and our feelings and expressions. That is the so far traditional approach. So I'm going to share one more link with you all. I request all of you to have a look at it whenever you find time. This is about AI again. This is one of the best videos I've seen on AI. The previous video was by Siemens Solid Edge software. It's a tool, but now this is being the standard. It's on generative design. Now I'll show you. I request you to have a look at the video that I have shared. It's one of the best AI videos by another professor. I'll now share my screen again. Can you see my screen? Studies in form.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah. So
yes,
this is a work done last semester in online mode. So overall, what we try to do is it's about pure forms and industrial forms. How do we bring in these two aspects to students? So it's supposed to be a overall holistic course. The work was done by Ms. Nainika Day, who is our student. So here it was a 2-week session that we had, and the contents that we developed to it, like products. How do we appreciate a product, and how do we bring in the vocabulary? Like Professor Lakshmi was telling, how do we bring in the vocabulary, and how do we understand a form itself, and art movements, like how it has been done overall, so far. And how do people bring in the artists and designers? How do they bring in their expression to the product? Then we study again. It goes on studying, understanding, and appreciating the natural and man-made structures and forms. Then we talk about various expressions in product design itself. This again, each student has a different expression, and this particular student has done dynamic forms. Then the other one is body language. Body language as in, like, when we look at a product, how do we react to that product? It's exactly same like how do we look at a person and react from his posture and his body language. And the next topic is quite interesting. It's about how do we dress up for an occasion, or how do we buy things from Amazon, and can we learn something about it and apply it in reverse? That is the topic. Then we talk about one simple exercise being done by students, considering all of these aspects. So a product keywords, how do we bring in the keywords is that when we look at the product, what are the words that come to our mind first? Say, for example, the first product that we look at it, the things that we come to our mind are like, elegant. It's looking very sleek. It's quite defined form. It's very sharp in nature, and it's a kind of minimal form. Okay, like this, we innocently these words should come in, without any intention. We try to bring in, and this is where the culture and context, all of this comes into the picture. So like that, students start studying existing forms which are already available, and they bring down various keywords from that. The whole idea is that if you can extract these keywords, and in your project, can you apply it in reverse? So if I want to make a product which is very sleek and elegant, what are the elements that I have to bring in? So that's the whole idea. Here, what they try to understand is, if somebody says this product is beautiful, what makes it beautiful? That is where, that's what they have to articulate and try to understand it. And so students, they read a lot of products, visual reading. It's more like visual communication. And also this the place where technology or the structure of the product comes into marry the form and expression. So for example, if you look at this particular last product, it's very elegant, sleek, contemporary. It becomes masculine, and it becomes very cold, cold in terms of expression. So we try to compare different products and get an idea of the vocabulary. Then interestingly, any product, just like human beings, it's not only one aspect or one character that it has. It has many different characters, and we try to point down a set of generic characters. What we do is like soft, warm, friendly, sharp, bold. These are the words that we take, and we play with the extreme things. Say a product which is very soft, or a form which is very soft, is inherently hard also, but the softness is more emphasized. The same way something is very warm in terms of friendliness, etc., or the expression, it has the cold aspect to it also, but it's less pronounced. Like that, we bring in certain comparisons, extreme levels, and these are all put together and represented. So here, if you look at it, this is again to understand and appreciate a visual form of the product. So this is quite a subjective area, but there is a range that falls into human perception. That's what our people try to understand. Again, this will have a lot of discussion with the students. Like I mentioned, it's all quite subjective, but we fall into a range. So this is again a set of attributes. If you look here, for example, it is very formal and less of casual, and it's very calm and turbulent, less turbulent. And when we look at it, it's quite calm, hard. That's a very strong feature that we can perceive. So I hope you understand what we are trying to do here. So we bring in all the attributes and different types of language, visual language, we try to bring in. Again, this is pure form. it's yet to be applied in the product scenario. So here, there's quite an intensive period where students try to articulate a form through various examples. I'll share this presentation with you all so you can have a look at it in depth. Here, she had taken one furniture, quite a different fluid form, and she tried to understand. And if you look closer, there will be a different set of attributes that she has tried to understand. This is absolutely up to the designer to come up with these attributes. Then we look at art movements. These were the history and our culture and spirit of the times, and the context comes into the picture. Students try to understand various art movements which have been practiced and followed by human. So here, this particular student had taken Dadaism. This is where the philosophy part and basically it's a trend, aesthetics, etc. comes into the picture. Students talk about that. Here, the student had taken Dadaism. It's more like kids kind of an approach, but it's a very rebellious art movement. Students talk about arts and crafts and modernism, postmodernism, etc., etc. They talk here.
What I was saying, Kums, is what happens when all the students put together, when they share each other's presentation and they're all watching each other's presentation, they get the whole right.
Yeah, exactly. So again, they extract the core concept of a particular art movement and try to understand its visual form. Here we need to understand the product form has a very strong aspect of visual form, which is like, you can see it from far away or up close. You're not touching it or lifting it, only at the visual level, what are the elements that you see, and those are the things. So they talk about sculptures. Sculpture, primarily, it's only about expression. Here, whereas products, industrial products, are for usability. So they try to understand the pure form and the applied form. So they go deeper into the history. Like Professor Chakku mentioned, it's all about sharing the information. We have about 15 students in the class. They take 15 different topics and they compare and learn from each other. And the same thing, how is it being used in the present context? That's something they again study. This is the place they talk about role models as well. And they're talking about an art movement and the current contemporary applications. They get to know the designers who've been practicing it now, and the current scenario they understand. Then we take a mundane form, very basic form, which is a cube, and students start applying a particular expression into that. This is again more like a sculpture. Why we give a cube and not a cuboid is that cube has a definite proportion, 1:1:1. Cuboid is quite open. So with the given constraint, how do they bring in their expression into the picture, into the same cube? So here, the student had taken pathway to heaven. That is like, how the pathway is quite difficult, what are the disciplines that they have to follow, etc., etc. It might be the ultimate route, ultimate destination, but the route is quite difficult. The path to heaven is through hell. That is the concept that she took, and she tried to apply that expression in a cube. So each student comes up with a different form, and it's only the study. I'll show you the application of it in the next slides. Then this is the most important part, where they have to observe and appreciate a particular form, which is both man-made and other kinds of natural ones. And again, it's all about articulation and observation. And so here she has taken two different sets. One is like all the shells and furniture. If you look at it, these two forms, if you look at it, there will be something in common. So that's what she tried to bring in, the sportiveness of a sports chair and the ruggedness of a conch. So those formal aspects she tried to study, and then the same way it goes, ruggedness gets reduced further and further, and finally it becomes a very smooth, delicate form. This is something that we worked on. And the same way she took birds and how they are going, and with vases how it's happening. So this kind of gives an idea of how natural forms are there and how we observe and convert them into usable forms for usable human context. Again, I would like to emphasize these are all visual forms. This is where we try to word map it. Basically, it's a kind of brain mapping, mind mapping. So we articulate all of it and bring in the best words here. This way the texture and the texture primarily comes into the picture, color, texture, etc. We try to understand. Then obviously we come up with various options for the same. This is where artificial intelligence and generative designs, they will excel us. They can come up with so many variations in a jiffy, but again, this is where that soul or human approach will not be seen. It's more like a robotic, calculative one. Primarily AI, right now, it doesn't make any deliberate mistakes. Somebody has to tell. But now, humans, we can, without any intention, we can make mistakes. And here again, a simple dull cube, how it's becoming vibrant. So the student has tried to understand step-by-step process of making it more and more and more vibrant. And finally, a dull cube can become extremely vibrant. That's the idea she tries to work on. All the students take a cube only, so that there's a baseline that they can keep. And here we try to the same form that we take, but we try to give different visual aspects in terms of color, texture, transparency, and material. And the same form gives different expressions here. So she's worked about 8 different variations here. She's presented, but there were a lot more. And we choose the best of it and put it together. And we take 2 extreme forms. One is a very dull cube. This is a cube. It looks like a different kind of a trapezoid. But a cube, fundamentally, it's a cube. And the same way, the other one is also the fluid cube is also a cube, but it looks, the core form is a cube. So these are the two extremes she has brought in. Here, the two extremes, that is the most important concept that we have to understand. Our final product is going to lie somewhere in between. So the same thing, these are visual forms, then comes the physical form. Okay, how is it going to be, what material, what is the physical proportion to it, this way the weight, feel, etc. comes into the picture. This time, usually we go with real materials for the final model, but since we were doing it online, it became more on a visual basis. Students worked on simple thermocol and paper boards, and they made it. Then the last point is about body language. This is the most important thing. We don't observe it in everyday products, so obviously, but this is something we feel immediately. So if you look here, there would be some forms which are very inviting. There would be some forms which are quite repulsive. You know, how do we understand that? To start with, we study facial expressions and physical expressions. Actors, they are a good example for this. It's the same body, same person, but we express it in different ways in terms of formal alterations and ornamentation and accessories. This way, here, this person, the student has taken Charlize Theron. It's the same person, but they change the form, visual form alone, and they bring in different expressions. So only the facial, it's the same face basically, but completely different expressions. And again, these are famous Dev Patel. So the same person, just by changing the visual accessories and the muscles, how the same person becomes apt in different contexts. And again, okay, how to make that, you know? So we talk about accessories and overall clothes. This is where students actually will have to get into Myntra or Amazon and find out various clothings. So here we took a bad girl and a good girl, a bad boy and a good boy. You know, these are the two extremes. So basically, a bad girl. What are the things they follow in a regular culture, and what are the things? What are the good girls? What is the grammar of a good girl? If you look at it, it's from the posture to the colors and materials, etc. It goes. So again, she studies the body language of a good girl and a bad girl. Again, it's only cultural aspect of it. It's not that these girls are bad or good. It's only the expression here. This is something that we generally miss when we are observing a person. So there's an attempt to deliberately look at a person and see, you know. Generally we say, okay, that's a good boy, this is a bad boy. But why we say it's a good boy? Why we say it's a bad boy? Why we say something is very beautiful, something is not so beautiful? This is where people study very critically. Then they bring in different body language which are coming in. And our idea is to how do we apply the same thing into a product? That is the whole idea. Till now, they haven't applied anything. They are only studying it. And here, various textures and colors, they work on it. All of this involves a lot of discussion. we sit in and subjective discussion. 15 students will come up with 15 different opinions about it. Then the majority of the opinion is taken. So it goes on. Then they create a mood board. They bring in various accessories which reflect the intended output, expression. You're all fashion design faculty members, so you know more about this than any of us. So texture, colors, they play a major role. So it's not so much like fashion design here, but industrial design is also a kind of fashion design, So we try to bring in that. Basically, we try to sensitize the students. So, like you see, it's quite an in-depth analysis that they work on it. Then we try to apply it onto a product. Here, she has chosen furniture design. So the idea here is to bring in a good chair and an evil chair. So again, they from the knowledge they gained before, they try to bring in the line quality, and these are all just ideation sketches. And they keep refining it. And the first iteration of a good chair, if you look at it, it's very smooth form, very elegant, and the surface finish is quite smooth. And nothing stands out in a louder way here. It's a very common chair. So these are the attributes of something good. So she tries to put it here. Here again, we do not really look into the functionality part of it or manufacturability part of it. It's more on a visual form that they work on it. And different variations they bring in. Now she tries to work on completely the opposite of it, which is evil. Here, by mistake, she's put good. It's actually evil. If you look at the body language, completely changes. This is a good one. This becomes the evil one. So this is the opposite of it. They try to bring in. Again, there's a lot of discussion over it. And this is the formal aspect of it that we work on. Once this concept is a kind of finalized, the visual language is finalized, then we take it to the next level of optimizing the design for manufacturability and everyday usage. That would be the next level. So this is the overall idea. Today, the whole presentation is about visual form, and the example is about a furniture, but the same thing goes for a food or any other bottles or any product that you see. This is being done. This is what is going on the back stage. This is the whole thing, and obviously students gave some feedback. The main thing is to bring in that physical aspect of it and the digital aspect of it into the budding designer's head. So what happens is, once they are ready with this kind of soft skills, what they have to know about human context, then we get on to that AI. AI isn't right now we are using CAD. And then eventually we have to just ask them to ask computer to give a particular parameters, and they will make their own decisions. And our job will be restricted to just choosing one, which we are already doing actually. Our boss will be giving us, giving the designers, okay, create a furniture for this particular context. Designer comes up with so many options and the boss finally chooses it. The same thing is going to happen with AI also. It's an overall view of what we are doing in design school. as far as form study is concerned. I can take questions now. Hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah, very good process, and then journey is so amazing. I mean, it's a real good combination of fine art quotient to product designer quotient. Very good combination. So, may I know what is the time span that was being spent in this process? Because we have just maybe 2 weeks for form studies. That too, yeah, only 2 weeks for form studies. So, what is the kind
It's
of
a
time
2 week.
you have?
It's a 3-week course, but we get about only 2 weeks. In between, we get students, they don't have classes in between. So effectively, it's a 2-week course. It's quite an intensive course. During this phase, they don't do any other design courses. So it's a 2-week job output.
One
That's
more
a
question.
good result. That's a very good
One more
result.
question. Whether the students has been given the input about the softwares before they get into the form generation process?
Yeah. We have regular classes on sketching and 3D modeling and different software. We don't sit and like teach them 3D models or anything in depth, but the basics we give, then students learn on their own. Here, as far as IDC is concerned, it's only a 2-year course aimed as. Primarily, what we do is to motivate them, and they spend. It's quite a intense 2 years, so they learn most of it on their own. The mastery aspect of it, they learn on their own.
Can you suggest if the student doesn't have the software knowledge when they can enter into the UG level? So how effectively we can take this format into the teaching?
There are many software available. Too many, in fact.
Because after +2, immediately they join into the college and it starts immediately after 1 year, where they don't have much touch into the software knowledge. Purely working on the hand skills, drawings and the materials. That's it. With that kind of background, they enter into the course in this subject. So how it can be effectively, with that knowledge and skills, we can take it forward.
Yeah. Basically, if you look at it, nothing can replace scribbling, sketching, etc. hand skills, and the software tools. But given the current scenario, we cannot live without software. And luckily we have a lot of open source software as well, and institutes also provide certain free software to students. Bulk license software. My experience as a designer in the past 20 years is that software really gives a confidence to people, students, in terms of the final finish and to approach the problem itself, and especially in terms of iterations, different variations of the same design. I think primarily because of the undo key, like you can undo, whereas if you once you make a rendering, then you'll have to just for small change also we have to redo the whole thing. So my personal experience also, and my students' experience also, the software really boosts the confidence of the students. So
absolutely, I agree with that.
My suggestion would be, or even my students, they spend more time in learning the software than in sketching. But the fundamental principle is the same. If you look at Photoshop, it's a very good example. Photoshop actually took the same strategies of sketching and they made it into a software, digital one. If you look at the layering concept, transparency, etc., it's from Buttersheet. They brought into a 3D, digital way. So philosophically, both are not different, but a software brings in some sort of standardization and it's very, very important. We can't live without software now. So
Yeah, I totally
it's an
agree with
essential
that
skill for
because when
students.
we ask them to do the variations, they exhaust and they hesitate to do that. So that's what
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, because they hesitate to do the same form again and again and do other variations, and they exhaust some after some time and they lose their energy and the tempo of the
Absolutely.
absolutely it is lost because I experienced
Yeah.
that. So that will be the
Yeah.
good input
Sometimes,
you have given. Yes, thank you.
sometimes the mistakes can affect the morale of the student. Even in everyday life, if we have undo button, that would be awesome, right?
Because I force the
Yeah,
students to do
yeah.
100 variations with the manual
कुछ बोलना चाहिए.
sketchings, so they still do it. Some of the students are some extent
Yeah.
50, 60, they do it. But that is different experience. But when they get the confidence and the self-satisfaction when they have the easier methods with them, actually.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Professor
Exactly.
Kum, I think you're right that, the way human mind thinks, the software works in a similar fashion. So there would not be
Yeah.
any difference because the software, we only make software. So it's like that only.
Yeah.
The Apple Pencil and
Exactly.
Sketchpad
What you
is
said is a
uh, yeah.
what
Especially
you said is
today's
the
generation, they want the faster results actually. They want to see the faster results. So though they work
exactly.
hard, they never get satisfied. So I think the
Exactly.
softwares are very necessary actually.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For example,
That's it.
what you mentioned is a very important thing. See, this is the most advanced pencil. Okay, but we had to follow the same form factor to it and the intuitive part of it and the tablets, everything. There's an Apple Pencil that's a regular Natraj pencil. So whatever comes in future, it can never replace the humans. As far as we are humans, and eventually we might change into something else that is the next level of it. Probably that time it's all telepathy conference that happens.
No, actually, yes. Thank you.
Actually, it may one day.
Yeah.
Actually, it's already happening. We are yet to know that.
Yeah.
Uh, I was quite shocked. There is a nice movie on Amazon. Amazon, about Amazon. There's a scientist. It's about 20 years back when they were developing Amazon, etc. The scientist, he was mentioning, if we think we know the power of data, we don't know the power of data. Okay, meaning from the data they can extrapolate so many things. They put up one example. There's a lady and she goes to a shop and she purchases things. I'm talking about not Amazon, but I'm talking about Walmart. From the pattern of how she buys things, Walmart actually knows she is going to be pregnant in another couple of months. Whereas this lady hasn't even started talking about having a baby with a husband. In that case, Amazon, especially Amazon, it's quite scary. These guys, they know it. And uh, Jeff Bezos' fundamental idea was record everything, no matter whether you analyze them or not, you just record it. And from the data that has been recorded, they can extrapolate every single thing. In fact, that's where we are moving, mass customization. So if I want one specs, spectacle frame, they can make it only for me. It's an industrial product, but only I will like the most. Or if I want my girlfriend to like my specs, I can make her like it. You know, that's the level that we are going. Basically, it's a multiple standard system. Mass customization. Um, it might look scary, but this is where the term innocence is bliss. that comes into the picture.
Nothing, actually, all this
So
days
we
we
have
are
to
doing
learn.
the same thing because as a designers, we are always provide solutions. That solutions turns into the problems, then looking for further solutions. That is the whole idea of the design process.
Yeah, that's the that's how we spend our life: create problems, then solve it, and that solution
Yeah, the solution
gives a
becomes
new problem.
problems. That problem again, we are searching for solution.
Exactly. Have you read that Amish Tripathi's book? I'm forgetting the name of it. Shiva trilogy. So
No.
they actually make the amrut, that heavenly water nectar.
Yeah.
What is it, man?
Nectar.
It's nectar.
Nectar. What happens is eventually that becomes the problem. The ultimate solution becomes the ultimate problem. Then they, it's quite a, that's the human cycle. By the time only thing that differs is the technology.
Only the
But we
designers
all
can
have the
survive
same
for lifelong, actually. So create the solutions, and as well as it become as a problem to somebody else, then create again solution.
Yeah. Oh, truly, you said it well.
Yes,
Very
Sridhar,
good,
you are waiting for that.
lively discussion going on. It's very good.
Yeah,
I think the rest of them can also participate, please.
Yes.
Please do participate. Please, yeah.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah, hi. You were just talking about how one subject is done in 3 weeks or 2 weeks, more like a, module, right? I mean, I just want to know your take on, as a design educator, what do you think would be ideal? Because in our institute, for example, we do have timetables. Of course, they're flexible, but at the same time, do you think modules would bring about the best output among creative minds, or a holistic learning, like 3-4 subjects, 4-5 subjects together, would bring about the best? I mean, according to you, what do you feel? Because my question is in perspective of like both the sides. I've seen the output as a module. I've seen the output as a a session wise plan timetable. So what is your take on it?
When I studied, it was more on timetable, weekly, everyday different classes. And later we adopted this module-based thing, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, very intense sessions. Both have positive and negative fields, but what I have understood is, I've been teaching for the past 9 years. It depends on how we deliver it and how we make it more memorable for the students. And obviously the continuity works good. One is like naturopathy, and the other one is like, just jam it up. And finally, it's about summarizing the whole learning for them. Continuous learning is the most important thing, than packing it or like spreading it. Continuous learning for the students is the most important thing. Some of our senior faculty members, they used to say, you can't teach anybody anything. It's about learning, So primarily we have to, at least in my classes, etc., we give the environment to students and something challenging that we keep. If we have another 4 minutes time, I can show you one video of what students do within 1 week of time. We conduct workshops like 2-day workshop, 1-day workshop, 2-day or 3-day workshop, and 5-day workshops. In this whole 5 days period, what students do is something. The workshop itself is called a Mission Impossible workshop. Just 5 students in a team or 4 students in a team, they develop a product from scratch to final product. Something which cannot be done very easily. It's the basic idea is to make it more interesting for the students, where I don't have to push they come and sit and do it. Do we have 4 or 5 minutes? Can I show?
Yes, please. Sure, sure. Please. It's very interesting and then very participative and quite a lot, I think, we get to know. Yes, please.
It's for my teacher.
These are the essential aspects that we need to really discuss it out. That's more important.
Thank you, so great. Actually, this whole attitude towards teaching and how we interact with the students, I learned it from my seniors, actually 4 faculty members. One is my bachelor's professor on Professor Srivatsan, then Professor Kriti Ramamritam, with whom I worked, and 2 other people who have been teaching me since I joined IDC. That is, one is Professor Rao, and the other one is Professor Chakku. How we deal with students, how we become, like we are not teachers to them, but more like friends, like students, that they learn a lot from us. In fact, Chakku sir will agree with that. I've done so many mistakes. Sir has never, given up on me. Every time, not only me, there are so many other people like me. In fact, the whole batch. So how we interact with the students and how we make it more interesting and challenging for them, that makes that personal touch, that brings in the best of the students, I guess. I'll just show you the video. It's all done, and it's going to be showing the, I'm going to show the overall activities, and I'm going to show a couple of projects, which is like 5-day workshops. I'll just show you.
There is no sound, I guess.
You can keep the
sound will not come.
Oh, okay.
Keep your mind, or you can just narrate, Combs, if you want, or I can narrate for you. I'm so excited with all your projects. So, like, so in fact, you saw that proof of concept lab. That's the lab which Professor Combs now, gets all these workshops going on for the entrepreneurship. We started an entrepreneurship program. Professor Combs is like the senior most professor there now in building proof of concepts for students. And so many patents and situations have come out of that lab, and he conducts these workshops also over there, this 2-day workshops and all that 3-day workshops and 5-day workshops, and students come with fabulous work which doesn't even happen in a thesis project. That's the beauty about conducting these workshops. Go ahead, Combs.
Yeah.
In fact, people build the musical instruments and they play it also at the end of the workshop, and it's wonderful to see the mix of the materials. And and a lot of students we get who are music enthusiasts. So some of them join out of the 60. These music enthusiasts will go and take up this course, and they would be so passionate. That's what when they're interested in something, they would do, and they'll feel so good about it. And these are like the world-class designs, and excellent from form, feature, their own feeling. All those things are captured in this beautifully.
I think we would like to invite you. We would like to invite you for
surely that would be
training. Definitely,
we would love to come.
Surely. So this is a 5-day workshop. When students come in, Monday morning it starts 9 o'clock. Nobody knows what they're going to be working on. Nobody knows. Only I know. Then what we do is, as soon as they come, I tell them you're going to make music instruments, and it takes about 3 months for me to frame up the problem. Here, actually, it started with me questioning why the guitar looks like that, and I have no idea about music. So I had to spend, for this project, I spent about 4 to 5 months trying to understand music. I am zero with music. Then I kind of understood, and I understood the main difference between electrical and acoustic guitars. Then the whole idea is to make the students understand that in a very short time, and give them an overall complete idea of product development, design and development. So when they come on Monday, I tell them this is what we are going to design music instruments. And I have to give them very simple materials also, because the challenge is coming from all sides. So here, they have to understand the vendors, they have to understand the technology, they have to identify the vendors, they have to procure the materials. And I tell them the whole, we developed about 5 music instruments here, 5 plus 1, 6. It was all done in 20,000 rupees, you know, and we split them into 4 groups. What happens is like, I don't give them 20,000 rupees right in the beginning. So they don't know whether they're going to get the money back or not. So they become automatically frugal. And we sit with them. And if you look at it, the whole tone of the workshop is like, you know, we sit and work with the students. They work day and night during the 5 days. I have to sit with them, and sometimes they don't know what they're doing or like, you know, which direction. So see, students, they don't listen to us 100%. So the idea is to let them make the mistakes, then we nudge here and there, or like, you know, once they create some sort of, like you mentioned, once they create some problem, we find a solution. And you know, it's all about working with them. That's what I realized. We have done about I'll show you the projects like that, and making it more of a celebration. You know, in the nights we sit and have a party, you know, randomly pizza parties and you know, cakes, cutting cakes, it happens. And interesting part was, like, you know, initially I had to spend my money. After that, it became a culture. Students started, sir, I will buy pizza today, you know. So so it's a culture that we need to create. After that, we don't have to spend we don't have to sweat over it. It becomes a celebration. I just show you this. And interestingly, I've seen students working till 4 o'clock in the morning. Then I think, okay, tomorrow the work is going to start in the afternoon or evening only. By 9 o'clock, they are back. It's like, come on, go sleep for some time. You know, it became a reverse for us. Have a look at it. This electronics and working with machines, they have never done before as a whole product.
And these are all simple hand tools. They're all available like kits. I think all of us have it in NIFT also workshops. We have all these basic tools. In fact, in IDC, we used to have a whole screen printing facility once upon a time when I was a student and when Kums was a student. But now Kums does that, you know, like, you know, Jiffy, you know, you just get those inks and you screen print, you know, that type of thing on t-shirts. And so we have to make it very easy. Earlier, it used to be a lab and inks used to get spoiled. And now it's just you get whatever you want. FRPO, get all the glass and the resin and do your coating. You know, so get that frugal, that, you know, very easy way of getting materials. Luckily, it's available nowadays, you know, very easily to procure and get things done. So we have to build that type of culture within the, you know, within the department.
Absolutely, absolutely. Here again, this is a T-shirt, and people come up with their own designs. Here again, we have severe limitations. Any institute has severe limitation, but the idea is to make them have fun with the limitation and cross the limitation. We have very basic screens, and they have to work with their creative ideas to make it their own thing. I would like to show you this slide mainly because of just check out something odd here. Do you see there is something odd in the picture?
Yeah, there is a
division.
Yeah,
they have divided.
No, not only that. If you look at the person's hand, if you look at that student's hand.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Deformed. Okay, but he's one of the best model makers I've ever seen. What I'm trying to say is, even you don't need, you know, even physical constraints don't come into the picture. You know, once they are, once we develop that enthusiasm in their head,
he's the guy who made. He's the one who made the unicycle.
Yes.
He made a project, man, completely, you know, like, and he rode on that one unicycle.
Yeah.
cycle. I was also shocked actually to see the amount of motivation the boy had. Yeah. And then our people are saying handicapped students nahi lena chahiye IIT mein. They made rules and then we kept on saying that as long as they can see and hear, we would like to have them. Even though we had a lot of students who are deaf, and we said no, we would take him, and we learned so much, and now he's an IAS officer. That same boy.
Oh,
So it's wonderful actually. Yeah, he did wonderful work when he was a student. He made a postman's bag, which is now going for production to postman in India Post. And now he's in, he did his IAS, and then he still, gets in touch with us. So very interesting things can happen, with people who have, some type of handicap or the other also. But this is a very good example of how this boy was
very motivating, inspiring.
Yeah. So the learning that we as faculty members had was that this is the ultimate constraint anybody can have, And I've seen his work, and sometimes I wonder, like, did you make it or like did you buy it? That is a kind of confusion I had with this guy.
That much dexterity he had. Oh my God.
They put tapes and all. So you just gave them plain screens, Combs. You gave plain screens, they masked and then use tapes.
Yes. Nice. Only the one screen that you see here is the only screen that we give, and rest everything is their own creation, and they take it. Here, the interesting part is they are going to wear it, so they put their whole mind into that and make it. Try to make it look good.
Oh, that's so good. That emblem is very good. Logo is very good.
And this is all proof of concept students.
This project.
Go ahead.
This project we did with Godrej, and this started in Friday evening, Friday afternoon, and it was finished in Sunday afternoon. They're all first year students. They had never done any product development or 3D software or prototyping, nothing. Okay, in 2 days, they came with the options, renderings, proof of concept, working prototypes, and finally they made the posters, everything in 2 days. In fact, Professor Chakku and Professor Boppert, they were asking, if students can do, first year students can do a project in 2 days, this is generally a semester's output, minimum half a semester output. How can we motivate the students? That's the question all of us had. In 2 days, it's only 2 days.
May I know what are the subjects that you would have in the first year for IIT?
Pardon?
May I know what are the subjects that you have in IIT first year foundation?
We have elements of design. Basically, it's about 2D designs. Then we have form studies, introduction to form. Then we have materials and processes. Then we have
ergonomics,
product design. Pardon, sir?
Ergonomics and product design.
Ergonomics and product design. And throughout, we have sketching classes. I just finished this presentation, then we can take a little bit more. See, at the end of it, each team gets about 2,000 rupees, which is nothing. But look at the smile they have out of it, some sort of gratification. Wow. That gratification they get, it's a kind of encouraging for them.
And those some of by itself. Yeah, other departments like proof of the management school professors also joined hands. That cycle is my most favorite cycle because it uses bamboo in a very interesting way.
Yeah, that's very good material. I mean, combination is so amazing.
Wonderfully done.
Yeah, here this is a complete. Again, this was done in like 1 week. There are like a lot of very interesting stories behind it. We ordered bamboo from Kerala, it didn't reach. So what we did, we have bamboo shrubs here, so we cut bamboo from that and we made it. And complete
a process as well as the product, both.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So students work with all the sketches, renderings. It's all in 5 days, okay? And 3D model of the same. Then we work on the rig, and they're all first time they are cutting things, you know. This is an interesting slide where actually, if you look at it, companies have a lot of money put in setting up the posture analysis, and you know, these are all like high-end rigs they have. But here we have like 1,000 square feet lab only. So what we are doing is the student is lying down on the floor. We are taking photos from the top. So this guy changes the posture accordingly. We take photos, then we change the dimensions and angles, etc. So this kind of becomes fun for them also. They have fun end of the day, and finally we get the work also done. This is a bamboo drone that we did. Again, this bamboo drone and the cycle, they're all inspired from a basket, bamboo basket.
Okay.
So it started with a very silly idea, flying baskets. Can a basket fly? So that idea, we took it and converted. There is more technical aspect to it. This falls into a category of compliant structures. We can talk a lot about this, but basically what created the interest on the students was that, can a basket fly? Can a basket?
Very nice idea. Very interesting idea.
So students worked on it, and when we did the bamboo drone, the question was like, why bamboo? There are like technical high-end materials available. Why you want to do it in bamboo? I expected this question, so I had a different question as an answer. Why not bamboo? Then this becomes another, there is no answer that we get. So we made it, and again, we use bamboo as a prototyping material here. Okay, the same pace, if I replace the bamboo pieces with, say, carbon fiber, the whole thing goes, it positions itself in a different place, and it's a tensile structure. You have a look at it, then you will get an idea. The bamboo and the drone becomes flat, and once you pull the strings, that black strings that you see, then it becomes a 3D drone. And when it falls also, nothing gets damaged.
Because it's springy.
Then we have fun workshops like this is a one-day workshop. Students come, they make, we give them leather and foams, etc. They have to make their own sandals for their feet. So this is where they take the responsibility. We transfer the responsibility to them. So they have to impress their family, friends, and people. So they have to make it look good, and they have to use it. That's the technique we follow. So in one day, 80 students made it. Actually, the total number of students were only 72. I don't know from where that extra eight sandals came. Somebody made it too.
Enthusiasm. Probably they like to work with inspired. Yeah. Oh, nice.
This is the roving, the quadricycle with multiple people. Again, one day I was seeing Kums was sitting in the workshop, and before the workshop, he did a lot of planning. And, he was sitting with 4-5 staff, and he was doing something. I said, why are you sitting on the floor with this rowing machine? It's not a boat, but he says, I'm trying out a new thing. And after that, I see that he made this by, with the students, this up. So before the workshop, he has to do a lot of preparation. Otherwise, it gets very difficult to take it forward. But that preparation also is very important of how you.
Very good idea of.
You can see these cane chairs are, he was my student when we made the cane chairs. So I was his guide for the cane chairs at the back. There's cane chairs from Nagaland. So we made it in Dimapur. So they're all inspired from stackability, because all the bamboo craftsmen were coming back from Nagaland to Bombay to make cane chairs. I said, what the hell? We should stack cane chairs. So one truck can take 10 times more cane chairs to bring from Nagaland to Fab India. So there was, those were actually Professor Kum's projects when he was my student. Then we made prototypes, and now they're in the lab where people can sit and they can stack it and all at the back. You can see those end,
Oh, yes, that's circular one.
And this is
I'll just talk about a couple of things here, especially what Professor Chakku mentioned now. I'll just come to that point next. Here, if you look at it, this we took, this is a long project. I can go on forever on this. But the learning is that how we mix a couple of different things, like rowing and archery and a cycle. These three different concepts, how do we bring into come up with a completely creative solution? Say, for example, here, this is a tricycle. We made four-wheeler, three-wheeler, two-wheeler, and a single-wheeler in 1 week's time. These are all such a simple design. This was done actually in one single day, this particular bike.
Oh.
I have more interesting pictures.
The bamboo aspect addition is very interesting.
Yeah. And these are all quite serious designs. You can use them. And somebody asked this particular design. They asked, there'll be, how will you ride this in a traffic? Okay. And like, come on. This is not about taking into traffic or practicality. This is more like a campus vehicle and making it more fun, This is what we worked on. So that's what it is. Now I'll come back to Professor Chakku's point about even my project, that last chair. This is something I learned from Professor Chakku especially. It's about being kind and being forgiving towards students. Okay? I'm not trying to patronize him. This is something very important attitude we try to have. We don't punish the students. Okay. In fact, during the project, I had a lot of difficulties. Professor Chakku never punished. I known him for about 20 years, solid 20 years. Helping students and encouraging them, even appreciating the mistakes. I do this also. I learned from him. So I think that makes it more and more enjoyable for students, and it takes the pressure out of their head. When we share their mistakes and try to salvage that mistake, it becomes more enjoyable for them and less taxing. I think that is something I learned from my faculty members, especially these 4 members that I mentioned. And I try to do that. And another important thing is the sense of humor. Our classes, it's almost like stand-up comedy. And what happens is they're enjoying the jokes at the same time they're learning. They don't know they are learning. So that's what it is overall. It's more like a mind job that we try to do. But I think I've taken more than 1 hour, 15 minutes.
It's quite going very well and interactive, and which is helpful to understand what
Thank
are
you so
the
much.
issues ingrained into while handling the module. That's also essential to be discussed. Good.
Yeah. We would be more than happy to come and help you out or participate in your events in future. Thanks to Professor Chaku, I could come in today, and you can get in touch with through Chaku, Professor Chaku, or you can mail me. It's all the details are here. Anytime, please feel free to call us anytime. I can answer any other questions. Depends on your
Definitely, we will look forward to once this COVID thing goes down. I think physical training is very, very important. Working with hands gives a lot of experience and understanding. That gives a lot of freedom to explore and then understand properly. Yeah, definitely, we look forward for you both to.
Surely. It's my pleasure meeting all of you today. And
thank you.
Anything else?
If you can share that presentation of yours.
That student work, the first one?
First one.
I'll right away do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that immediately.
Actually, I like to discuss some more after the.
Yeah, please.
Individually, I will call you and discuss with you. Not right now. It's like very lengthy thing.
Yeah. Anytime.
Actually, we like to. We are very so happy to having you on board for us. For all faculty.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much, Secretary.
Send to Mr. Babu. You can send the copy to Babu. Then he would be able to disperse amongst the members.
Surely. Chaku sir, I'll give it to you.
Yes.
And Chaku sir will. Yeah. I'll today I'll send it across to you.
Definitely, we are looking for the collaboration with you people with the different aspects also.
Yes.
That's what.
Anytime.
What we can do is we will pull in all the PPTs in one basket and then send it to everyone. I think that would be a good idea to pull every PPT.
After these classes, I am going to send all the English recordings and all everything. I will send to all them.
Oh, good. That's nice.
Chakravarthy sir, you are mute.
So nothing critical. I was just saying that maybe we can put on drives, so everybody can download it themselves. No.
Yes.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, that's nice.
So again, thank you so much, Combs, for being with us and sharing all the work. And I was asking Combs, I want you to show me the bamboo bicycles, but he was saying, sir, what time lagega? But luckily he showed everything, so it was very nice. Yeah. That's my favorite cycle.
We have taken a lot of time actually. You've been very kind to see.
No, we'll adjust.
Also, one more.
Also are very good.
This from the PG students, am I correct?
Yeah.
These are all from PG students.
PG. And not only PG. What you've seen is.
Yeah, there are PG students. No, the bamboo bicycle were PG students. The slippers and the other things which were there, they were first and second year, so second and third year, that type of BTech and design all together students. BDes, undergraduate. The screen printing.
Because I can see that in the PG level assignments, more of technology oriented, the mix of students' knowledge is there.
Yeah.
Because the technology plays more role, because if they don't have the knowledge of that, how to incorporate that into the form will be the big task to the students.
Yeah. So a little bit mature students are better for that, but even third year BTech students, Professor Combs runs a
lab. Accordingly, we need to plan the assignments for them based on their knowledge capabilities.
Very true. So thank you
again. Actually, our course started with 20 students 3 years back. Suddenly last year it became 200. That was like 180 from IIT and 20 from IIT Goa. And this year it became 470. We are like, what's happening here?
How to teach. Yeah.
And one more important thing that we say is, while these are not proof of concept prototypes, people try to think design has to be beautiful or anything. So sketching and prototypes, the standard that we keep is baby monkey. It should look like baby monkey, You're confused whether it's beautiful or it's ugly or whatever. End of the day, they have to enjoy the course, have fun, and then automatically things start happening. That's the whole idea. Yeah.
Okay, thanks,
Thank you
Kum.
so much.
It's a pleasure to meet you all, and
Thank
thanks
you.
for
I think the
all the
Thank
time.
you
pleasure
so
is
much.
Yeah.
ours. Yeah, the
Yeah.
pleasure was ours, definitely.
Thank you.
We
Thank you.
sat for 1.5 hours. I can't even,
And
it
we didn't
felt
even
like that.
realize, how
We
time
didn't realize,
went by.
yeah.
We
It
could
was
go
so
on,
good. Yeah.
absolutely.
We were in the
Interesting.
flow. We were in the flow.
Fun times.
Kum, we have NIFT Chennai also, so you now have friends in NIFT Chennai.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anytime you can
My
visit.
teaching started with NIFT, actually.
Right.
NIFT Mumbai, I gave a lecture.
Uh,
And
very
people
nice.
sometimes they look at me and say I'm a NIFT student or something. Now with gray hair, they started calling, NIFT faculty or something. It's fun.
I also
You
keep telling
actually look like one.
that I also love NIFT so much. That from IIT Delhi, I used to go to NIFT campus, to see the campus, the NIFT Delhi. We are always looking forward for the,
Oh.
fashion and design, and I think NIFTs are doing
And
very
NIFT,
well. Yeah, we like
yeah,
to.
NIFT Delhi. At NIFT Delhi, actually, it's a case study for architecture students also. When we went just to see the building,
It's beautiful.
fantastic stuff.
Like just today morning, our colleague was saying that they got a new building now. And I was asking her, is it like exactly the same old building? No, it's just a little different because the new architect, of course, he'll put his little character in the new building.
Yeah.
So, they have a new building now, I
Oh,
believe.
IIT
Yes,
Delhi,
but we
NIFT Delhi.
definitely get, architect students. They come and take permission from us, and they go and see the entire building, and it's a case study that they do. Yeah.
NIFT Delhi, right?
Yeah,
Upinder
NIFT Delhi.
Upinder is from NIFT.
Yeah. Even NIFT Chennai, it was done by Bangalore architect. It's also a great this thing.
Very well done.
CNT architects.
Sanjay Mohe.
Sanjay Mohe.
Yes. Yeah.
Even NIFT Hyderabad is a award-winning designs.
Okay. Okay. I haven't been. Now I have a reason to come over.
I've been to Hyderabad. I gave a lecture there once for a conference. The director was a good friend. He insisted that I come, so I went there once. Very good campus. Yeah, you've got lovely campuses. And all of you are welcome to IIT Bombay anytime. Now I and Kums are there for you. So if I'm not there, Kums also will be there. We will catch up anytime. Yeah, thank you so much, Kums.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you so much.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
See you.
Bye.
Chakravarthy sir.
Yeah, welcome.
Some are from Bhubaneswar, Chennai, Jodhpur, Kangra, Mumbai, Raebareli, and New Delhi, Bangalore, Gandhinagar, and Shillong from Delhi. These are the participants for this drive.
In fact, I made a note for myself. I put all the names over here, and I was trying to add all the cities they're coming from. But informally, I just spoke to Pinder and like some of them. So that's why I was just using always NIFT, Delhi, and Chennai. But now I know you're from we have even we had some discussion with our Bhubaneswar colleagues. Yeah, lovely. This is really nice.
I think even Bhubaneswar infrastructure and building, I think it's one of the top-notch ones right now. It's come, yeah.
Again, such wonderful craft sectors. No, I think anyway, we the mandate is multiple levels. The NIFT mandate is pretty big. Being in, but the regional flavor should come into all the NIFTs. That's of course coming in. I know a lot of work is happening with all of you there in place, but but all of us are facing huge challenges of how to get our act into the field, because we've been set up. You see, IIT का बहुत question होता है, अरे तुम्हारे student किधर है, what has happened to the country's technology, where are you, all that they keep saying. Thanks to software, अभी तो हमको कोई क्वेश्चन ही नहीं करता है, because software का पूरा IIT का alumni है. तो पहले तो बहुत क्वेश्चन करते थे technology. So in the technology realm, still we are far away. Like contribution of IITs to the technology in the country is like not much. But when you look at the contribution of IIT alumni to the American industry, my God, the president gave a note saying that IIT alumni ka contribution Stanford or MIT se zyada hai. We have a note, from our alumni went and took that note, a combined alumni from the president of US. For example, it is that type of contribution which has happened. So, I think similarly, NIFTs are, of course, doing great work, from point of view of alumni who has gone to all the industry and, It's a great. I think we have to do a little film on it to see what all is happening at different levels. And at least from outside we are quite excited to see things happening so well. Your students are phenomenal. Some of the students I've seen, because my wife is a garment manufacturer, said I've seen some of the people working in Biba and other places, fabulous skills and fabulous training, doing very good work. So like Lakshmi ji, we are already at lunchtime.
Well, thank you for bringing such a resource person to us the form, sir.
Welcome.
And thanks for your support.
Tomorrow my
Thank
PG
you, Lakshman ma'am.
Yeah. Tomorrow my PG students come, and day after tomorrow, Satyashilan from Ashok Leland will come. So we have like one visitor every day. So
Thank
to
you
make it
so
very
much, sir.
that it will be nice. Yeah. Did we?
Very
Is
enlightening.
Yeah, welcome. So it only gives us creative thought. No? Our whole idea of teacher training is that we exchange with each other. In fact, we also want to. In fact, we want to also learn from you. So we just said that all of you should show your best student project for one minute or two minutes. We'll have that session maybe sometime when time permits. So that we get to know, because all of you being in NIFT colleagues, you're really very good in your work and all. And sometimes we wonder what can we from sometimes I doubt myself, what can I show to NIFT faculty who are very good in fashion and form and design. And sometimes we have that type of feeling, but that's the reason we're showing some things which can also motivate you in different levels, at the government, at the ministerial level, to do multiple activities.
Definitely.
So we'll break for lunch. Dr. Lakshmi, are you there? I think we lost Lakshmi. She's there.
Yeah.
Yes.
There is some internet issue with that. Yes, sir. We break for the lunch.
Yeah, we'll break
And
for lunch.
now it's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Can we join all together again?
So I will again see you all tomorrow morning, 10:45. Yeah.
Yes,
Bye.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Chakravarthy garu. I think my